Regional Planning Commission meeting of December 6, 2000. Yes, it is. December 6, 2022. We'll begin our meeting by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. All right. I'm not sure if I have everybody. You'll see we've got Gino is here.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, Curtis from Middlebury, and Lori I know is here from Naugatuck, and Bob Nerney from Waterbury, and do we have Bob Clark on?
Yeah.
Okay, hi Bob.
Hi there.
Did I miss anybody? No? All right. I got to ask Savannah to remind me once again, what's a quorum? Savannah?
It is 8 today.
Well, then we don't have a quorum.
Correct.
So in that case, we're not going to vote on the minutes from the October meeting, nor are we going to adopt the regular meeting schedule for 2023. But having said that, just an idea of what people think. We had two options. Option A, 6 meetings, and option B, 4 meetings. What's the pleasure of those who are here this evening?
I think that we should keep it at 6 because in my experience, the fewer times we meet, the farther we get behind.
That's very true.
I'm okay with the 6. I'm okay with the 6 meetings as well.
Okay.
I agree with Bob and Gino, 6 meetings.
Anybody else? Well, hopefully we'll get a quorum for our February meeting, and we can adopt the schedule. But we are planning on meeting on February. We don't have anybody from the public, I don't believe. And let's see, do we have any correspondence? Joanna?
Hi there.
Hey, Joanna.
Oh, hold on. I keep forgetting about
skipping the referrals.
Oh, did I skip the referrals?
No, it's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
We can double back.
Back one up.
So we have gotten, since our last meeting, 20 referrals, and you all get copies of the original submission and as well as the referral reports. 3 have been cannabis related. I mentioned this particularly because Josh will be giving a little bit of a presentation about what we're doing next with the cannabis regulation, rather
Right.
cannabis related ordinances and zoning. And really just a lot of accessory dwelling units, either opting out or making specific tailoring about that. So that's pretty much what I've got for today.
Okay, thank you very much, Joanna.
Mhm.
Now, correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
I'll pick that one up. No, we haven't gotten any correspondence.
Very good. The next item on our agenda is the roundtable discussion. I'm just going to go down through the list. Let's see, Gino, what's going on in Derby?
Well, we have the 34 project is picking up some steam there, going through the downtown, and that's looking pretty good. I know they're doing some underground utilities there, and we have a lot of projects that are approved and ready to go through planning and zoning But obviously with 34 being a big project into the Derby Shelton Bridge, I think everybody's kind of putting the brakes on until they get a little farther ahead. But the Derby Shelton Bridge is moving ahead as well, so it's looking good.
Very good. Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much.
That's it from Derby.
Very good. Curtis, Middlebury?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
That's because I hit my space bar, but I can't find my picture to unmute myself. Where am I? Where am I?
You're good. You're
Oh,
good.
there I am. Oh, unmute. There we go. Two things. We received an application, actually through wetlands, and we didn't receive it yet, and I expect it very soon to P&Z. A major 800,000 square foot warehouse on Southford Road near the exit 16 Southbury line, Southford Road. So that's a major application or project. It's part of the site is the Timex building. It encompasses all of that property and some extra 30 acres of land. So we're that's I guess we're going to be busy this winter and spring with that.
What's the square footage again that you said?
800,000 square feet.
800,000 square feet. Wow.
Yeah, that's 0.8 million square feet.
Wow, that is amazing.
You know
Anything
what?
else?
I've always said we're just waiting to be discovered. Our proximity to Interstate 84 and in both directions, and the Oxford Airport. It's in the vicinity of the former Uniroyal.
Yeah.
Property.
Wasn't Timex in Waterbury at one point?
Yes, they were, and after they contaminated that site, about 20 years ago, they moved to Middlebury and built a very green environment with solar panels and water cooling on the roof and the whole, and sheep eating the grass instead of mowing the lawn. But they're pretty much, they were bought out by a large international company, and the world headquarters here in Middlebury is closed, so.
Well, I think you're just putting Middlebury on the map. I'll tell you with that one.
Well, let's hope so.
Lori, Naugatuck, what's going on?
All right, so right now we're working on our cannabis regulations. We had a small subcommittee working on them. So we set the public hearing that opens next week. The Planning Commission gave them a positive referral. So that's going through. ADUs, we voted to opt out. The Zoning Commission, it's actually before the Borough Board tonight for ratification. And then we will modify our regulations somewhat. And we are also working on our TOD project, Parcel B. So far, it's, I believe, has police approval, fire, a positive referral from planning. So the public hearing opens next week also, December 14th. They have all their other approvals at this point. So that'll be a nice one over on Parcel B, which is across from the firehouse. It's in 3 phases. The first phase will have 60 units, mixed income, and some commercial and some restaurants, green space, and the train station will be over in that area.
Awesome.
So, and our Dollar General, we approved that. They came to us, I think, in the summer. We have it approved and it's built and open.
I think I read somewhere that Dollar General is looking to put one on every block, just about.
I don't know, but they just build them fast. There was wetlands there, everything. I mean, they did a great job, quick. They worked with us. They're on our agenda now to have their bond reduced.
I really think that they're in competition, direct competition with Walmart. They want one everywhere. Yep.
Well, that's it for now.
Thank you very much, Larry. Bob, Nerding, what's going on?
Yeah, well, Waterbury, we remain active. We have a just recently scheduled a public hearing to extend the moratorium on cannabis. As many of you probably know, it was put on the as a ballot question in November. And there were two questions, cultivation, which was actually turned down, and retail that was approved by the voters. Our current moratorium is set to expire on February 9th of 2023. So we're going to re-up for an additional 6 months. In tandem with that, I've been developing regulations to actually move forward.
So you're going to have another
I think
6
given
months.
the February deadline, we're looking to, yes, but I don't think we're going to be utilizing that full 6 months. We should have regulations in place. It was a very close vote. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the retailing will be permitted but regulated through zoning.
Let me
On
go ahead. Go ahead, Bob. I think we're having trouble with your audio.
Frozen.
Bob, you're freezing up.
It's all the way frozen, Kurt.
that
Okay, we'll come back to you, Bob, if you have something. We have Bob Clark.
Yeah, we had an interesting meeting last month. We had an applicant come in to make applications simultaneously to zoning, planning, and ZBA, trying to cover all bases. Since he wants, or they want, I should say, to reutilize the ski area, not including the tubing area across the street, to reutilize that ski area to convert it to some sort of commercial / retail district. They came in with the idea of trying to rename that district Middle Quarter, which, if you know Woodbury, you know that's on Route 6, as opposed to Route 47, which is nowhere near the Middle Quarter. So that's the hot item. Everything else is pretty normal for this time of year.
Very good, Bob.
That's it from Woodbury.
Thank you very much, Bob. Let me go back to Bob Nerney. Bob, are you back with us?
I am getting a very poor connection,
Yes, you are.
like 25% of
All right, Bob, I'm sorry, we're still not getting you. All right, I'm sorry. Let me move on. I'm going to do a report from Bristol. I have actually 3 items that I wanted to report on. One concerns our zoning regulations rewrite. We're entering the final phases for this. I've gone through the rough draft and I'm very excited about it. I think this is going to not only simplify our regulations a little bit, but the presentation is going to be a lot clearer. We're going to be setting up some public hearings and we'll see what the public thinks of it. I suppose that we're mostly going to hear from some of the lawyers. We have, as Joanna sent out, a zoning regulations proposal. This proposal is to limit a density of 4 units per acre. This arises from a controversial project that came before us where they wanted to put 85 units in a little over 10 acres, I believe. And neighbors were all up in arms about it. We deliberated, for months on this. The problem arose from the fact that the applicant met all of the requirements, so there really wasn't any justification to deny it. But everybody felt that it was too dense. So we're hoping that this proposed regulation rewrite will allow us to ease that up a little bit. The final thing I wanted to report on was we have something known as the Kind Care Facility that's been approved, and it's being constructed at the corner of North Main and North Street. This is going to be a 5-story facility. It is assisted living, and it's going to be for memory care as well. They're starting to talk about employment for this. I think this is an exciting project for Bristol. And just as a note, I understand that the design for this project is going to be duplicated in other areas. I thought I remember them saying something about New Haven.
Naugatuck.
No, Naugatuck.
We have
excuse
the approvals too, so we're just waiting. They've been before us with their pre-construction meeting we had. So yes, we're hoping they're gonna start tearing down the building soon also. Excited about that one.
I think you should be, because I am very, very impressed with what they've done so far. It's pretty well buttoned up for the winter. And I don't know if I can tell you directly what the projected opening date is, but it's looking great. And yes, I think it will be a great advancement for Naugatuck.
Which building are they knocking down, Lori?
Roland DeRocher's old building right down on North Main Street. So he kind of owned that whole block, and they bought a couple other properties on one of the side streets, Myrtle Ave. So it'll look nice. It'll clean the whole area up too. We're excited.
As you should be.
The design is really good. And if they duplicate it, and I think they were planning on doing that. Well, thank you, everybody. The next thing on our agenda is Regional Planning of Conservation and Development. And I think Joanna's going to take that for us.
Chairman White, how about we do have a quorum at this point?
We do?
Yes, we have a quorum. So you are welcome to rearrange and go back to your action.
All right, I gotta check. Who did I miss here?
Southbury.
Southbury. Hey, Kim.
Hey, how are you guys?
And who else? Anybody else? Just Kim? Hey, Kim, you want to give us?
I think Marcus Land is also here. No,
Oh, is Marcus here?
Marcus should be on, yeah.
Marcus?
He's muted, but he's here.
All right. All right. So we do have a quorum. All right. Well, listen, Kim, would you like to run us through some activities in Southbury?
Sure. That would be great. We have a new planning director, Judy Lynch. She wants to thank Glenda Prentice of NVCOG for all of the attention and support that she's been given. She really appreciates it. Our plan of conservation and development is getting ready for its final review. We hope to have that before the public by the end of this year. We have a new Southbury Chamber and an Arts and Culture Subcommittee of the Economic Development Commission. We've also received our bronze certification for Sustainable Sustainable Connecticut. And we've got a few businesses opening. We have a restaurateur who's opening his 3rd restaurant in Southbury, so that's pretty impressive. And we have Michael's coming early next year, so a lot of people are ready for that. And we also have our 350th anniversary of our town that we're going to be celebrating for all of next year. And NVCOG is coming to visit our planning commission next month.
Very good. Give us a good report on those. And congratulations on Southbury's 350. Wow, that's
Thank you.
wonderful. Marcus, if you're off mute, is there anything going on in my neighboring town? Marcus, are you there? Maybe not. All right, so since we do have a quorum, let me back up. Let's talk about the adoption of the October 4th, 2022 minutes. I'm going to ask, has everybody had a chance to look at those? And I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes from October 4th.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Lori Rotella.
Lori, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Any abstentions?
I have to abstain. I was not at that meeting.
Understandable.
Thank you.
The next thing we will do is the adoption of our regular meeting schedule. Before we really got started, I kind of took a sense of what everybody felt. I had comments, positive comments about keeping the 6 meeting dates per year. The other option B, would be for 4. I will first look for any discussion, and then we'll take a vote on one of the 2 options. Anybody want to weigh in on a discussion?
I already gave my opinion, so
Yes.
I won't do it twice.
Well, we'd love to hear from you anyway.
No.
All right. Let me entertain a motion to adopt one of the 2 options, A or B.
I move we adopt A.
Option A. Do I have a second on that?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No opposed. Any abstentions? Chair votes for A as well. So I think we're going to keep 6 meetings per year, and I think that's a good decision. So Joanna, I think we're now back up to date. Would you like to talk to us about the regional planning, conservation, and development?
I would love to, but just before we do that, who was the second on that last motion?
Kurt Bosco.
Kurt Bosco, thank you. Okay. All right, thank you, thank you. Okay, as you probably know from those of you who we have visited at your planning and zoning or just planning commission meetings, we've been doing our outreach throughout October, also November, and we're actually going into December and January. This is taking a bit longer than we thought because of, well, your busy schedules of your regular business. Next week, we're going to be at Southbury and at Beacon Falls. Beacon Falls on December 15th, Southbury on the 13th, and in Seymour next month, January 13th. So we at that point, we'll have 10 towns that we visited and still got 9 more to go. Hopefully we'll get those done in the first couple months of 2023. The online survey, we've only gotten about 16 responses. And this is my push to ask you, please, if you could help out. I'm going to be sending, I added the links to the online surveys in the chat, but I'll also be following up with an email tomorrow asking you if you could ask your webmasters to add a link to the survey, or if you could give us a little shout out at your regular planning and zoning commission meetings or planning meetings. We would love to up that number at least by 20. That would be nice. But you all know how difficult it is to get people on record. So what else can I tell you? We are working on the existing conditions report. We hope to get good draft ready by the end of this December, and by next month, we'll have something to show you at, to give us your opinions on things and to give you a little taste of what we've been working on. That's all I've got right now, and I'm happy to answer some questions.
Thank you very much, Joanna. Are there any questions for Joanna? Okay. Next item is the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Rich?
Yes, thank you for having me again tonight. I know I spoke with you at your last meeting as well about this. But we have closed our public participation survey for the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, which again is a 20-year vision for what transportation across our 19-town region might look like. And so the next major step for us is going to be putting out some initial drafts for the public to review, because transportation and land use are so closely related. We would love to get feedback from all of you on some of those drafts, some of the goals we're putting forward, and some of the long-term plans as those become available. We expect to have some of the first pieces out in early January. And so I'll ask Joanna to send a link to our project page for this in the minutes for this meeting, as well as I'll put them in the chat when I'm done speaking.
Very good.
And then I think I'm up again.
Any questions for Rich on the Metropolitan Transportation Plan? Rich, I think you're also going to talk to us about the Route 8 and Waterbury Branch Line corridor.
Yes. And so this is a more specific study we have been working on for several years now, looking at the Route 8 and Waterbury Branch Line corridor, starting in Naugatuck down through Shelton. And this takes a look at three major pieces. The first is improvements to the rail line, some of which have already been implemented in the time since we began the study, and many more that are in the works. It takes a look at a bus rapid transit alternative, starting at the Derby Shelton station and working its way down into Bridgeport. And then the third piece is a transit-oriented development, kind of a model or a proposal for what transit-oriented development in the region could look like. Obviously, this is the piece that will be most relevant to you, although I'm sure you'll have interest in all three. We have just put up a draft of the final report for this study. We will be having a public comment period that lasts until January 15th, as well as a public meeting on December 15th that'll be both virtual and in person at the Valley Transit District offices in Derby. And so again, we would love any comments that you may have, any ability you have to share with other residents or interested parties within your towns. As much comment as we can get, we would really appreciate.
The date on that again, Rich, was December 15th?
Yes. Yeah, December 15th at 6:30 in the evening.
6:30. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions for Rich concerning the Route 8 and Waterbury Branch Line corridor? Rich, thank you very much. Well, yes.
Rich, it's Gino DiGiovanni. It's 6:30. And where was the location for the meeting?
It's going to be at the Valley Transit District office.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, just behind the train station here in Derby.
Yep.
And then there's a virtual option as well.
Is there going to be notification going out about that?
Yes. Yeah. So we have, it actually should have run in most of the local newspapers starting today. Okay. It's also posted up on the NVCOG website, both as a calendar event and a news item. And so again, I'll ask Joanna to send additional information about it.
Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Savannah.
Hello, Chairman White and commissioners.
So good to see you.
It is wonderful.
Housing program. What do you want to say?
Sure. So I'm here kind of just to say hello and reintroduce myself. I've got a new title this time. So I am the Senior Regional Planner for Housing and Integrated Development. So what that means for you all is if you have a housing question, if you're trying to adopt a housing regulation or a housing ordinance, if you're looking at a planning initiative on the local level that you'd like another set of eyes on, or you'd like some research into, or any ways that I can support you as land use staff or you as a land use commission, give me a call. I'd love to come down. I'd love to work on projects with you. And to talk about a project that I'm working on right now, just briefly. So Public Act 2230 requires that municipalities with populations over 25,000 have to adopt a fair rent commission. And that is Bristol, Naugatuck, Waterbury, Shelton, and Cheshire. So I just wanted to let everyone know that we are working with our planning intern on drafting a memo that will be going out to those communities, just to kind of give you a draft ordinance and a heads up about what's required there. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to give me an email or a call, but otherwise I look forward to seeing you in February.
Good to see you. Glad to hear about the promotion. I hope there's a pay raise with that. All right. Are there any questions for Savannah on housing? Thank you. So we have Josh next, going to talk to us about cannabis zoning.
Yeah, so as I understand, a number of members of our staff, as well as perhaps some of the commissioner, attended a November 17th meeting of the Council of Small Towns. And at that conference, we had a presentation by Ken Slater, who's an attorney with Halloran and Sage, and just reviewing the current state of play for cannabis legislation. I'm just going to highlight a couple of items. So essentially, he noted that in general, towns have been regulating this use via zoning versus the other option, which would be by ordinance, but both options have been used, and that the current legislative session had removed a statutory cap by towns, similar to what's done with retail liquor establishments, which do have the cap. So the other suggestion that he had is that special permit regulation might be a better option because it does comply with a uniformity provision. And it gives the towns a great deal more control than to have it be considered as general retail or to fall within, other general categories, depending on the specific cannabis related use. So it also in statute, just to finish up, he noted that an adopted town ordinance trumps zoning. So if there's any conflict between those two provisions, the ordinance would be the controlling factor. And as well that there was provision in statute for a distance regulation, again, similar to existing liquor regulations. So just as a quick note, a number of our towns have chosen to take some time to figure this out via moratorium. And as those moratoria start to come due, and if there is a decision to take action, certainly town council is definitely the first stop. But if there's anything that our staff can do to support you in terms of model legislation or analysis similar to what we did when the legislation was first proposed, regardless of which direction your decision is heading, we'd be happy to advise you of what other towns have done, and again to come up with best practices based on your needs. So by all means, let us know what you need.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Josh. Josh, let me just ask, what's your sense as to the acceptance of cannabis sales in the state per community?
I'll be honest, I think it's all over the place. I mean, in the main, both within our region and outside of it, the more urban communities seem to have had more acceptance of it. They're looking for that as a source of tax revenue. Typically there's been a fairly negative reaction in most smaller communities, which have either, passed a moratorium or moved towards more restrictive zoning regulation. there are exceptions, but it's pretty, it's all over the map. In places that, retail has probably been the one that's had the most concerns raised. The same is true. Look, I served on as staff to a zoning board of appeals in New Haven. I mean, anytime there's an application involving any type of package store or permitted liquor use, that's typically what gets, 20 or 30 or 50 people out of an evening to go to a hearing. So there's no question that, this is going to be fairly controversial topic in general. And I mean, the other aspect that I think most of us are aware of, but that may not be as familiar to the public, is that none of the provisions that are existing either by ordinance or in zoning are permitted by state statute to regulate private consumption outside of the public realm. That's a matter of state statute. And also, if someone brings a product in from another jurisdiction, there's no prohibition on that, assuming they're not actively consuming the product. They're, within their rights to take it from one jurisdiction to another. So that, the intent of the legislature was to essentially decriminalize. And so, there's no ordinance you can pass that will change that on a statewide basis, individually as a town.
Understand. Okay, Josh, thank you very much. Are there any
Sure.
questions for Josh? One last thing, Josh.
Sure.
We're talking about the hybrid or the retail. What about the cultivation? How's that looking at the state?
I will say, I know there are towns that have been receptive to that, and it seems to be less controversial than retail, as far as I know, but that's just anecdotal. I mean, we haven't done a use by use survey. We've just kept track of which towns have addressed via legislation, which have used ordinance, which have used zoning, but we haven't really gotten down into that level of detail on a systematic basis.
If I could pipe in on that. This is
Yes,
Joanna.
please. Yes.
So you might want to look at Wolcott. They just redefined their micro cultivators, their definition of micro cultivators. And I believe also Beacon Falls had a similar defining and all that stuff. So that should be what I can do is I can send you with our follow-up tomorrow. I can send you copies of those referral reports and what was submitted, if that's helpful.
Joanna, could I ask, what was the cultivation decision in Wolcott?
No, that we don't know. I haven't followed up on what was the decision. We just got the referral of the proposed changes.
Okay.
So, but I can definitely follow up with you and let you know tomorrow.
Interesting. Yes, it would be interesting. Thank you. Are there any other questions concerning cannabis zoning? Next, we're going to move on to Christine. Hi, Christine.
Hi there. Good evening to our wonderful commission. I am asking you to just bear with me as I get a couple of things ready. So I'm going to put a link in the chat.
Yep.
And I'm going to stop this share and start another one. I am hoping to speak to you tonight about something that might be a little outside your usual realm of what you deal with as land use planners, but I hope that you will still find it valuable and interesting. So I'm just going to reshare. Okay. So everyone can see my screen here? Okay,
yes.
Awesome. So as most of you may know, Connecticut is in the midst of a waste crisis. So not so surprisingly, decades of burying and burning our trash have been an unsustainable management strategy. New England communities are hit particularly hard due to our high population density. And with the Hartford Mira incinerator having closed this fall, Connecticut is faced with shipping up to 1/3 of its trash out of state. So the ripple effects of too much garbage and not enough capacity are being felt by every municipality and it's trickling down to taxpayers who need to foot the bill of trucking our trash to Pennsylvania, Ohio, and even Virginia. So there's no silver bullet here, but there are solutions on the horizon. So the State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection is funding waste reduction pilot programs in towns across Connecticut, including our own Ansonia, Seymour, and Woodbury. These pilots consist of unit-based pricing, also known as pay-as-you-throw, and organics diversion, which sends our food scraps to a biopower facility to produce energy. NVCOG also received a grant to help educate our whole region about the waste crisis and to help municipal staff and residents understand why systemic change is critical. So that's where this comes in. To that end, we have created a story map on the waste crisis. And I'm just going to slowly scroll through as I speak. Don't feel like you need to read it all now, but just to give you an idea of what a story map is. So this is an online storytelling tool with a strong visual component, which brings together narrative, images, videos, and maps. The full product takes about 10 to 15 minutes to read and covers background information, unit-based pricing, organics diversion, DEEP's grant program, and other related waste reduction efforts. The intended audience is both municipal staff and commissioners such as yourself, as well as residents. So in your packets that were sent to you before the meeting, you'll find a PDF that explains exactly what this story map is, how to navigate it, and what we hope to accomplish with it. Please consider taking a look at this story map yourself and working with your town's communication teams to share this important resource. So I think just sort of scrolling through this, hopefully you get an idea. It's a bit of a non-traditional way to tell a story, but I hope it's engaging. I really hope you find some value in it. Again, the link I just put in the chat. And with that, I'll stop scrolling here, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Christine, trash to energy, how is that impacting in the state? Do you know?
Yeah, of course. So I think, first of all, calling it trash to energy can be a little bit misleading because incineration, which is it's burning our trash, right? That's really what it is at the heart of it. We can recover some energy from it, absolutely, but it is a waste disposal method first and an energy generation method second. It comes with issues, and this is covered in the story map. There's a lot of pollution associated with it. Most waste to energy plants are built in disadvantaged environmental justice communities. They are very expensive to maintain, and their lifespan is only 30 years. So imagine spending hundreds of millions of dollars to get a facility going, and it only lasts 30 years. They're problematic. And Connecticut, we mentioned Mira just closed down. Connecticut has 4 others remaining in the state, but there's only so much capacity left, which is basically incinerators are handling the 2/3 of trash that's not being shipped out of state. So I hope that gives a little context.
Yeah, now here in Bristol, we have a trash to energy plant.
Covanta, sure.
I'm very disturbed to hear about the pollution that's involved. I thought they were pretty safe as far as that was concerned.
Well, it's, obviously we've come leaps and bounds from 10 years ago in terms of pollution, but I think there's a few illuminating links in the story map that can give you a little more information about it. Even in Bristol, there's I forget exactly what it's called, but there's a community action group called something like Bristol Residents for Clean Air or something that are, looking to sort of study the effects of Covanta's impact.
And we've been talking about there are trash crisis, but along with this is the recycling issue, because we were, as a nation, I believe, sending a tremendous amount of our recyclables to China, and they're no longer accepting most of it, if I'm correct.
Yes,
so, that is a secondary problem.
Absolutely. And my understanding is the reason China won't accept our recyclables anymore is because they were too contaminated, because we don't recycle well. We do something called wish cycling, which is where we sort of hope that this is recyclable, so I'll just throw it in my blue bin. What's the worst that can happen? Well, the worst that can happen is that that whole load then gets contaminated and they don't take any of it. And even worse than that, sometimes it clogs up machines, things that shouldn't be in the recycling, and can cause, hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment damage. So part of this whole effort that we mentioned, the grants for Ansonia, Woodbury, and Seymour, we're also trying to pair that with recycling education.
This is a huge issue, and I thank you very much for this information. We talk about global warming as one of our main concerns. It's not only global warming, but it's what we have to live with trash and recycling. Christine, I'm not sure whether you're going to take the clean water grant.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So I guess I can real quick go back to sharing. Let's see. Sharing that. So there are two funding opportunities that I wanted to mention. Hopefully you all received these memos when they came out and also received them in the packet. The first is the Section 319 Clean Water Grant. You may have seen this one before. DEEP makes it available on an annual basis. The money can be used to develop a watershed-based plan or implement actions in an existing plan. There's a 40% match required, which is a little steep as grants go, but sometimes DEEP is able to waive it. No word on that yet. That one is due February 9th. The second is the Aquatic Invasive Species Grant, also put forth by DEEP. These grant funds can be used for three potential purposes. The first is to research aquatic invasives. The second is to manage or remove aquatic invasives. And the third is for public education on this topic. There's a 25% local match, which may be met with in-kind hours. It's a pretty simple and straightforward application, but it does have a quick turnaround time. That's due January 6th. And a forever reminder that NVCOG is happy to provide letters of support or GIS mapping services upon request. So if you have any questions about those grants, feel free to let me know now or shoot me an email.
Thank you very much, Christine. Are there any questions for Christine regarding these grants? Christine, the Aquatic Invasive Species Grant, is that for vegetative or is it also for animal?
Yeah, sure. So it actually is for both, as long as they're aquatic. There's a list of eligible species. I believe there are, I'm going to say like maybe a dozen or 20 eligible plants. And then there's 4 invertebrates, which I believe are like mitten crabs, quagga mussels, zebra mussels, and something else.
Oh, the zebra mussels. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Big problem. And not only in our state, but throughout New England. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Christine.
Sure.
Is there anything else that anybody would like to bring forth to put before our commission? Having heard nothing.
Hold on.
Okay.
I hit my space bar. I just have a question. It's not anything to do with the last few items on the agenda, but Middlebury voted to opt out of the 3 housing things. And I just want to ask this question of any of our members or the folks from NVCOG, if they know the answer to this. We opted out of the parking, housing, and the health. What was the, I don't know, the 3 that everybody was opting out of. So the P&Z held their public hearing. We referred it to the NVCOG and got a report from them. And last evening or two days ago, it was last evening, our Board of Selectmen also voted unanimously to opt out. Is there anything else we have to do to make it legal and not have egg on our face? Does anybody know?
I'd have to turn that over to Joanna.
Are you still on, Joanna?
Yeah, I'm on. As far as I know, that's all you need to do, but I can double check that, and actually SN can probably double check that as well, to give you guys the final. I would say, I would also tell you, talk to your town attorney.
Yeah, you know what I did, and And I said I was going to be on this meeting this evening, and I said, I'll just double check with them. As far as she was concerned, she felt that we were done. But I know that opting out of the cannabis, we had to contact the OPM or something
Yep.
and
Yeah, Commissioner Bosco, for cannabis, you had to contact OPM and DCP, and then you had to fill out, your ZEO had to fill out the Survey Monkey that they had. But for the parking and for the accessory dwelling units, it says that you have to just make sure that you publish it in the newspaper. So I'm assuming you guys did you do that?
well, we will. The meeting was
Yeah.
last night, so that,
Yep.
yeah, there'll be a
I think
notice.
I think that's the last piece, but I'm going to reiterate what Joanna said is confirm with your attorney, but that should be the end of that process. There's nothing here that says you have to reach out to any other entity.
I just hope that we did the final step in the cannabis opt-out. That would have been my fault, right? Or that would have been my job. All right, well, thank you very much.
No, thank you, Kurt. Last call. Is there anything anybody would like to bring up at this moment? Hearing no responses, look for a motion to adjourn.
Oh, move, Lori Rotella.
Lori, thank you. Second on that.
I'll second Gino.
Gino, thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye. Listen, everybody, thank you very much. And everybody have a great Christmas season.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Happy
Thank you,
holidays.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
See you in February.
Thank you.
Aye.